within our company, our management has set targets for us to be in basically the top 25% of our peer group on a 3-year rolling average. That's for our stock price performance and to maintain relatively stable Gulf of Mexico production. So how did we compare to our competitors in terms of cost and performance? And we need to get the AED out now and put it on Paul and Joe here because of what I'm about to say could throw them in cardiac arrest. I'm not a big fan of benchmarking, or at least I didn't used to be. So I'm a convert now. So we participated in the 2009 ZIF shelf study to kind of figure out where we really were. And I have to say, at this point in time, that turned out to be a good exercise for us to go through because it really placed us on the journey, is what I would call it, of going down the path of operational excellence. The shelf study showed, if you guys haven't participated in it, I'll do a sales job for Joe now. This is good stuff. But it breaks down cost and performance in a variety of different asset classes. And for the shelf, you have both high, low, and medium oil, high, low, and medium gas production. And you would assume that performance would be comparable amongst assets that are similar. The nice thing about the shelf is we have a large number of facilities on there to compare it to. So it's a meaningful analysis. You can't really see from here. I had another chart that showed, but it breaks down performance on a unit cost basis into tiers: top tier, middle tier, low tier. We had about a third of our properties in the top tier, about a third in the middle tier, and a third in the lower tier. The important thing, though, is were the ones that we thought were in the top really the top, and the ones that we thought in the bottom really in the bottom. And we did have a few surprises on that. On operating efficiency, again, it breaks it down into different classes. What you could see in the red here would be enough to make any operations manager a little nervous. We were some of the lowest in terms of operating efficiency when it came to our offshore assets. So what we learned from the original study is that when we averaged up all our costs, it said Stone was a little bit better than the peer group or than the group within the study in terms of our unit cost per operation. Our average was better in 5 out of the 6 peer groups in terms of cost basis. We felt pretty good about that. If you took all of the properties that were above average and brought them at least to average, it would have saved us about $25 million off of our LOE. And at that time, LOE was just a little bit north of $200 million. But when it came to operating efficiency, and this was really a surprise for me at the time, we were ranked fairly low. A significant portion was related to one field, but yet it showed on average we're at about 88% operating efficiency. So best in class is about 95% in the Gulf of Mexico. So, we saw this as an opportunity to improve. Now, one of the fears I had when we went into the benchmarking study is that it was going to generate a whole lot more questions than it did answers, and it did. But what I also learned is we don't have to answer all the questions. Let's choose the ones that actually can impact value. So the next year after we participated in the ZIF study, my boss came back to me and he says, all right, now we know where you are. What are you going to do? So what we basically identified is that if we could improve upon our operating efficiency, obviously we could improve our financial returns, and to do so with very little cost. For each 1% improvement in operating efficiency, it added about $10 million in free cash to our bottom line.